I was born and raised in a small town in the Philippines, surrounded by the warmth of my family. My mother was my best friend, my safe place. She was the kind of woman who could make me laugh even when I was crying, and who always knew the right words to say when the world felt heavy. My father worked hard to provide for us, and my two younger brothers were my constant companions in childhood mischief. Life wasn't perfect, but it was full of love. And that love was all I needed. When I met David, I thought my life was taking a beautiful new turn. He was quiet, polite, and a little shy. He came from the United States, and his calm demeanor felt safe. My parents liked him, believing he would take care of me. I was young, only 19, and I didn't fully understand what it meant to leave home, to leave everything. We married in a small ceremony in our town. There was music, food, and laughter. But inside, I was already feeling a quiet ache. Because I knew that soon, I would be far away from my family. The night before I left, my mother called me into her room. She handed me a small silver bracelet. "This will remind you of me," she said, her voice trembling. "Stay strong, my daughter." I hugged her tightly, and for the first time in my life, I saw tears fall from her eyes. The next day, I boarded a plane with David. It was my first time leaving the country. The flight was long, and I kept staring out the window, trying to memorize the color of the sky back home. I didn't know when I would see it again. When we landed in New York, I was struck by the cold. Snowflakes drifted from the sky like tiny stars. It should have been magical, but I was too nervous to enjoy it. David's father, Mr. Collins, was waiting for us. He was a tall man with a stern face and a handshake that felt more like a formality than a welcome. Their house in New Jersey was small and dim. David's mother, Mrs. Collins, barely smiled when she saw me. The very next morning, she handed me a handwritten list of chores. Clean the living room. Wash the dishes. Cook rice. Don't be lazy, she said in a cold tone. I didn't fully understand every word, but I understood enough. From that day, I worked from morning until night. Scrubbing floors, washing clothes, cooking meals, all without a word of thanks. David did nothing to help. He spent most of his time with his father, drinking coffee and watching television. I wanted to call my mother, but David said international calls were too expensive. Once a month, I was allowed a short call. Every time, I lied and told her I was fine. I couldn't bear to make her worry. 3 months later, I found out I was pregnant. I thought the news might soften their hearts. I hoped they would see me differently, not just as someone to clean the house, but as a wife and soon-to-be mother. But nothing changed. Mrs. Collins told me I needed to work harder. "A baby doesn't mean you stop doing your duties," she said. Carrying my child, I still washed floors on my knees and carried heavy laundry baskets. Some nights, I cried quietly so no one would hear. When Ethan was born, he was perfect. His tiny hands wrapped around my finger, and I promised him that I would protect him no matter what. I thought David might change, but he didn't. His family still treated me like an outsider, a burden. One day, while cooking, I felt dizzy and almost collapsed. That night, holding Ethan close, I whispered, "You are not alone. I will be strong for you." That was the moment something inside me began to change. I started looking for ways to learn English. I found a free class at the community center. David didn't like the idea, but I insisted until he reluctantly agreed. My teacher, Miss Lisa, was kind and encouraging. "You are smart, Emily. Don't give up," she told me. Those words lit a small fire in me. For the first time in months, I felt hope. A few months later, Miss Lisa told me about a part-time job at a local bakery. David said I wouldn't last a week, but I took the job anyway. The bakery smelled of fresh bread and cinnamon, and the owner, Mrs. Grace, treated me with kindness. I saved every dollar I could. But life at home grew harder. David began drinking. Some nights, his shouting frightened me so much I would lock myself in the bedroom with Ethan. Then one day, Mr. Collins said something that chilled me to the bone. If you leave, the boy stays. I knew then I had to find a way out, carefully, quietly, and with a plan. At the bakery, I overheard a customer talking about a women's support group. I went once, and I met Helen, a strong, kind woman who helped mothers in difficult situations. She told me my rights. No one can take your child away from you, she said firmly. Her words gave me strength. I found a small apartment for low-income mothers and saved for the first month's rent. One afternoon, while David was at work, I packed our clothes, Ethan's toys, and my mother's bracelet. Mrs. Collins stood in the doorway and said, "You'll come back. You need us." But she was wrong. The apartment was tiny, but it was mine. There was no shouting, no fear, just peace. Then came heartbreak. I received a letter from home telling me my mother had passed away. I fell to the floor, sobbing. I had dreamed of the day I could visit her again, to tell her I was free. But that day would never come. I wore her bracelet and whispered, "I'll be brave, Mama." 2 years after arriving in the United States, I was no longer the frightened girl who cried in silence. I worked more hours, spoke better English, and raised my son with love. David tried to convince me to come back, but I refused. Life was still challenging, but it was mine. I had friends who supported me, a son who adored me, and something I thought I had lost forever, my freedom. My story is proof that even in the darkest chapters, courage can turn the page. And when you choose yourself, you choose freedom. Tell me in the comments. Which moment made you emotional? Don't forget to thumbs up like the video. Bell subscribe for more emotional love stories. Memo comment and join our storytelling family. The Love Chapter by Aree.